You're supposed to take it off on the song, but during the song. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Recapping the Past. I'm your friendly neighborhood soda, joined as always. Actually, no, not as always. I'm joined for the first time ever by none other than Ken Adams. How are you doing, Ken? No, I'm just joking. Of course, it's Ben, but Ken Adams is part of one of the funniest episodes of this season, one of the funniest episodes of the whole series. It is none other than Friends season 7, which if you do
season 8.
Right, season 8. Sorry, Friends season 8. And if you do any digging, you will find that season 8 is considered the best season of the show by a lot of different outlets.
Really? I wouldn't say it's one of...
Well, one I can tell you right now, that's the one Collider says is number one.
Okay, that's weird, because with what happened in the season, I wouldn't have thought it was one of the lower seasons.
Collider's got it ranked to number one, and I've seen it a few times up there as well. And you know, I would have to agree. There's a lot of good stuff in this season.
Yeah, but there's one storyline that might be the more divisive storyline.
Maybe, but I think it's more divisive for what happens in season 9, not for
Okay.
Yeah, because nothing really. We'll get into. We'll definitely get into it, but I mean, there's nothing that really happens in this part of that storyline.
All right, no, you're right. Okay.
Yeah. Right, dude. Start her off.
The one with the tea leaves.
Negative.
Okay, Phoebe is reading everyone's tea leaves, and she finds out that she's supposed to meet the guy who is meant to be with her, and she realizes this guy has been following her the whole lot often. They go out, and this guy is a pretty big douchebag. You remember this episode?
Yeah. Yep, I do.
You want to take it away?
Okay, and so she meets this guy who's a douchebag, but then right afterwards she meets a very overly pleasant man played by none other than a very, very funny man in his own right, Alec Baldwin. Jesus, this character is way too much for me.
But Alec Baldwin didn't come in the next episode.
No, he appears in this one.
He appears at the very end. No.
Oh, right. Sorry, at the very end. But
Yeah.
okay. Right, he does appear at the very end of this one. Oh, and elsewhere in the episode, Ross, who at this point has broken up with Mona, is trying to get hold of his salmon shirt. Everyone calls it pink because it's salmon.
It's pink.
It is. No, actually, as someone who has owned salmon shirts, I'd go with it salmon. That's just me. And also at this point as well, Joey has told Rachel how he feels about her, and so Joey invents a crazy work problem to take away some of that awkwardness. But the work problem is pretty ridiculous. Rachel, out of nowhere, tells Joey that her boss wants to buy her baby. Wow.
Yeah. Who knew Ralph Lauren was in the business of buying babies?
Right? Right? Yeah, and also point out, too, that this place took place after 9/11, but you could actually still see the Twin Towers and the skyline in this episode. Yeah.
Interesting. I love this episode.
It's a good one.
And that douchebag that Phoebe goes out with is peak douchebagginess.
Oh, yeah.
So, did you know he had a PhD? I'm pretty huge.
Yeah. Yeah, I was not expecting that. The dude would write erotica for children. Like, ew. How is he not in jail?
We're not to forget. I believe it was season 1, or maybe season 2. Phoebe used to sing children adult songs.
That would be season 2.
So that was a little hypocritical of her.
I don't know, man. Truthful songs versus children erotica for children, like, dude, not even close. I understand where you're coming from, but no.
Okay.
No.
Right.
My number 5, I'm just going to say it now. I'm pretty sure it's a punt. The one with the rumor.
No. an honorable mention.
Okay, wow, I was not expecting that. Okay, just give me a moment. I wasn't prepared for that. Oof, okay. So this is actually a pretty big episode in Friends history. Reason being is because of its guest star. Just give me a second to get the synopsis on that. Damn you. There it is. God, I love Dead Air, folks, huh?
Yep.
Okay. Will, an old friend of Ross's, is in town, and Monica invited him for Thanksgiving dinner. Will used to be really fat in high school, and he really hates Rachel because she was horrible to him. Will shows his hatred and tells Rachel they had the I Hate Rachel Green Club in high school. The members of the club, Will and Ross. Their club spread a rumor that Rachel had both male and female reproductive parts. Everybody knew about the rumor, and Rachel figures that's why certain guys wouldn't go out with her. Turns out that Rachel told everyone about how Ross made out with the old librarian, and Ross is so upset he wants to be in the club again. Phoebe also joins the club because she's never been in a club. Monica tells them they're being childish and they should focus on the important things going on in their lives, like having a baby together. Now, all that's funny, but really the big thing is who plays Will, and it's none other than Jennifer Aniston's husband at that time, Brad Pitt. And that was a huge get because I don't think Brad Pitt had done any television after he left General Hospital in the 80s.
You were on General Hospital?
Pretty sure he was on General Hospital. I'm pretty sure I've seen footage of him on there.
Wow. Yep. I mean, that is a great episode.
And he wasn't even credited.
Really? Wow. Yeah. We get one more memory of the club. Like the exchange student.
Yeah, there was also an exchange student whose name I can't remember. Okay, no, he wasn't on the soap there, but he did do Growing Pains and Dallas. Okay. Oh no, that's right. He did do a soap opera. It was Another World, which is the one my mom used to watch when I was a child. Like seriously, my mom was really into soaps when I was growing up, and that was like her soap. Yeah. But yeah. Anyways, what did you think of this episode, Ben?
It is great, and it is. Yeah, it's great. I think I prefer next season's Thanksgiving over this one. Mm-hmm. But I love how Phoebe Phoebe has like a little crush on Will. So throughout the episode, you see her go more and more bananas over him, which is funny. Mm-hmm. And maybe you see what it was like between Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt later on in their relationship through this episode. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. Sorry, I could sworn I read something. I'm just trying to corroborate. Maybe I was.
Oh, I love Joey's talk in this episode. We're eating flowers. We're eating a whole Thanksgiving.
Yes, that's right. And he goes and he gets who's it? Phoebe's pregnancy pants?
Well, it's Phoebe's pants that's
lent to Rachel. Yeah. Yeah, and it's true. Stretchy pants are Thanksgiving's best gift.
Yep. Yep.
All right, Ben, what's your number 4?
Well, one is Rachel Tells.
No, not on either of my lists.
This is a great episode. It's all about Rachel finally telling the father of the baby she's pregnant. Meanwhile, Monica and Sandy are off going on their honeymoon, and Phoebe and Joey are trying to get into Monica and Sandy's apartment, but they can't because they took away their keys. Am I getting the episode mixed up again?
Let's see. No, frig, that's my episode. The one with Rachel Tells, 3rd episode. Monica and Chandler are about to leave for their honeymoon as Rachel prepares to tell Ross they are having a baby. Phoebe and Joey try to get into Monica's. Yeah, you've got it right.
Okay. Yeah, and the father of the baby is, of course, Ross. And boy, you could really see David Schwimmer's comedic acting chops
Yeah.
here. When you hear him, he goes from 0 to 90 in the blink of an eye. It's so funny.
Yeah.
And yeah. And yeah.
Now,
And then,
it's obvious it's Ross. No matter what, if you're going fresh into it, you're all doing this for the first time. It's obvious it's Ross. It has to be Ross, right?
right. I love when, well, I love it when first Rachel tells Ross condoms are only 97%
Effective.
effective.
Joey goes, really? And he pulls out the big Rolodex of condoms. Dude.
Oh my God. What are your thoughts on this episode?
So it's a highly entertaining episode. Mostly for me, it's because of the storyline where Ross tells Rachel. Rachel tells Ross. Freak. Yeah, that's really the main reason why I like this episode. Now, did you know that there was a subplot from this episode that was cut out?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm the one who told you.
About the honeymoon?
About the 9/11 thing about...
You want to go over that real quick?
You can.
Okay. So there was a subplot of Monica and Chandler's honeymoon that was filmed, but ultimately never aired. It involved Chandler joking about bombs while about to board the plane, leading airport security to take it as a real threat and interrogating him and Monica. They are eventually determined not to be a threat, but shortly after being released, Joey calls Monica and pretends there is a gas leak in their apartment to cover the already broken door. When Joey asks about being charged for the damaged door, she sarcastically replied, "No, I want you to stand there and wait for the entire place to blow up," causing the authorities to re-interrogate the couple. Following the 9/11 attacks, writers felt the humor of the subplot was off color and quickly replaced it with another story about Monica and Chandler becoming jealous over another newlywed couple who got free perks by arriving just before they did. The cut scenes from this episode were later shown as a special feature on the 2004 UK version of the DVDs.
You can not.
That's heavy. Like, I'm glad they didn't do it. Reading that, I can see the humor that would definitely come out of her. Like, they would have made it great, no doubt about it. But I'm glad they didn't go with it.
Yeah, me too. But would you want to see it now?
Yes, because I can easily separate fiction from reality, and if they're making fun of a subject, it's okay. If they're making fun of a specific part of that subject, I'd have a different story. So I would have no problem with a storyline like this airing now, but if they made fun of 9/11 while doing it, that's when I would cross the line.
No, I mean, if you have the DVDs and there was a deleted scene, when you want that to be a deleted scene now.
You mean in the episode? Yeah, if they were doing the show in 2021, of course. Like, I mean, like, because of the reasons why I just said, you're making fun of a subject as a whole, i.e. in this case, it's accidentally being confused for a terrorist. Whereas, as opposed to where it's just like, if the part of the plot was specifically making fun of an event that happened, that's when I would have the problem with it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because I can see I can usually see that they're not trying to make fun of a specific event. It's just more the idea in general.
And kind of like that. No, I found that joke funny. And Meet the Parents.
Yeah.
When Greg gets tossed out of the plane because he said the word mom.
Yeah. Yeah, and also they did do it in How I Met Your Mother as well in season 1. The episode where Barney picks up women at the airport, and him and Ted are being interrogated, and they're showing all the different security footage of Barney, and he's like popping out of a suitcase and all that stuff. You remember that episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you could get away with it, but I understand why in 2001 why they didn't go for that joke.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, what here number?
This one might be a punt as well. The one where Chandler takes a bath.
It's on my honorable mention.
Okay. After his open-hearted evening with Rachel, Joey finds it impossible to go back to thinking about her as just a friend, yet he can't talk about it, not even to Chandler. As Joey rambles, only shutting up when Phoebe enters makes Monica conclude he must be in love with Phoebe. Considering baby names, parents to be Ross and Rachel find no word in common except veto. They agree not to ask the child's sex, yet Ross notices the gynecologist takes a peek and asks the doc afterwards. After Chandler was unable to understand why Monica loves taking an elaborate bath, she lures him into trying a perfect combination of scents and salts by incorporating a model Navy boat, and he's hooked. Enough to steal her next bath by jumping in before she can. When Joey barges in the bathroom, the boat gets a more modest purpose. So this is a good episode because basically this is Ross and Rachel at the beginning of their throes in parenthood, and they're struggling with like, do we don't want to know the sex of the baby? Do we don't want to? Like, what are we going to do here? The Joey storyline is okay, but really for it, the crux of this is the title of the episode, Chandler taking a bath, because once again, Matthew Perry just plays it so perfectly. And the scene at the end where everyone's in the Monica's bathroom that somehow got bigger. And everyone, it feels like it did.
Okay.
I don't know. It just feels like it did. Maybe because of everyone's in there in this one thing. But yeah, everyone's in there and they find out about the baby. And I believe this is where they find out about the sex. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And the scene where everybody's happy and the Chandler's just like, I'll wait till later. Because unfortunately, you can see through the bubbles.
We couldn't.
Well, okay, they could see through the bubbles.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, nice. I didn't know what to say. We should also make a note that this is the episode where Rachel moves out of Joey and moves up.
Yeah, exactly, because it was deemed that it was made more sense for Rachel to be with Ross, but also with everything that just happened with Joey and Rachel, it's of course a little awkward.
No, because Joey hadn't told her yet.
Right, Jesus, there's so much that happens in this season that it's hard to keep track of sometimes.
This is when Joey, and then the beginning of it. Because remember, Monica and Chandler thought Joey.
Right, yeah, but at this point, Joey is infatuated with Rachel, so it is in the right timeline.
Right.
Okay, what's your number 3?
This might get petted, maybe a soft pet. The one with the stripper.
Honorable mention.
Okay. This is a great episode. Monica feeling bad that Chandler never got a bachelor party. She volunteered to hire them a stripper. Funny enough, she doesn't know that the stripper is actually a hooker. So while Joey and Chandler are freaking out. Meanwhile, Ross is having Rachel is having dinner with her dad and Phoebe. Rachel's going to tell her dad that she's pregnant. Her dad slips out, goes over to Ross's, pissed, and smells on him while Ross's girlfriend Mona is there. So Ross is in between awkward moment between Mona and Rachel's dad, and it's funny.
And let's not forget the part that Ross hasn't told Mona that Rachel's living with him.
No, she's not living with him yet.
Oh, why does it say in the synopsis that they make up at the end?
They do, but Rachel, Mona.
Oh, that's right. He stood her up. That's why he stood her up.
No. Mona can bring up with Ross because.
Oh my lord, yes. There's just still, like I said, there's just too much. Now I remember. Ross went on a date with Mona, and yeah, okay, now I remember. Yeah.
It is something else. Why don't you take it over and read the plot?
Okay. Chandler finds out that Monica had a bachelorette party with a stripper, even though they promised not to have bachelorette parties. Rachel takes Phoebe along to dinner with Rachel's dad because she's afraid her dad will be really angry when she tells him she's pregnant. Mr. Green is delighted to hear he will be a grandfather, but freaks out when he finds out that Rachel isn't getting married, so she just tells him that Ross won't marry her. Monica feels bad about having had a bachelorette party, so she organizes a bachelor party, including a stripper for Chandler. Joey is the only guest because Ross has a date with Mona that night, and Chandler is embarrassed and doesn't really want to have the party at all. The stripper arrives, but turns out to be a hooker. Mr. Green goes to see Ross to yell at him, but unfortunately for Ross, Mona is there too, so they both start yelling at Ross. Rachel explains everything to her and Dad and to Mona, who makes up with Ross.
What do you think of this episode?
So it's good. And what I was mistaking for what he hadn't told Mona is I believe he hadn't told her that Rachel's pregnant. I think that's the part he hadn't told her.
Right.
Yeah. No, overall it's good because I really like it when Ross and Mr. Green interact. I really do.
I think their dynamic might be the funniest parent slash. I don't want to say child because he's not the child. But yeah, their dynamic.
I get it. The parents and the friends. I get what you're going for.
Yeah. It's so funny because all the way back in season 3, when they were actually dating.
Oh yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't liked him since the early years of the show, and put his foot in his mouth, of course.
And he's never going to like him.
No,
even in season 10.
Yeah.
You know what's your number 3, Matt?
The one with the birthing video.
Okay.
Wow, we haven't had any punts yet. I'm impressed.
No, I'm about to change you with my number 2.
Okay. It's Valentine's Day, and everyone wants to spend it romantically. Monica wonders whether to choose red or black lingerie and gets an opinion from her brother. Phoebe leaves a videotape for Rachel with a very suggestive title so she can appreciate the miracle of birth from an extremely graphic point of view. When Chandler arrives, he sees the video on the table, and reading the title, he thinks that it is a porn video from Monica for Valentine's Day. When he sees the video, he is impressed by the scene of a woman having a baby. Meanwhile, Phoebe gives Joey a happy dog for one day in order to help him with his depression about Rachel's moving. Ross continues to have communication problems with Mona as she doesn't know that Rachel is living now with Ross. Things got even more complicated when Mona arrives to celebrate Valentine's Day with Ross and sees Rachel quite settled there. Rachel leaves them alone and goes to Monica and Chandler's apartment, where she sees the birthing video and concludes that having a child isn't as bad as people say. Finally, Joey decides he will have a serious talk with Ross about his feelings for Rachel. So, yeah, the funny part of this episode is, as the title suggests, it's the plot line with the birth video, because Chandler and Monica watching this video is all kinds of funny because apparently the stuff is very horrible what they're watching, and I have seen a birthing video. It's not pretty.
Thank God I haven't.
Grade 10 science class.
Yeah, I haven't.
Yep. It looked really, really weird. What are your thoughts on this episode?
It's a great episode. I like the ending was that the ending or was that the beginning of next episode? When Ross and Joey talk, and Joey is telling Ross how he feels about somebody, and Ross is saying he should go for it. I love that dynamic, but you know the moment he says, and Rachel,
things change. I believe it is part of the next episode.
Yeah, it is. But yeah. God, I'm offended in that person video.
Yep, it's never pretty.
Nope.
All right, what's your number 2?
Ain't going to get content. I know it. The one with the videotape.
Yeah, soft punt.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 2 is the one where Rachel has a baby.
But
Ha! Okay. Well, let's talk about this now since it's your number 1. Why don't we?
and finish having mandatory when she has a baby. And when friends gather, Phoebe meets a random stranger, then things happen because the stranger leaves and she wants to go find him, so he helps by pretending to be Dr. Trick Ramore, the patient's doctor, to get the patient's room. Monica and Chandler decide it's time to start having a baby. They have, they decide to start right there in the hospital. And they find a room, but as soon as they find a room, Chandler hears something. He gets really freaked out. They go to Rachel's, and he realizes it's true. Janet is in labor, contracting and everything.
Oh my god. Oh Lord. Yeah, that's a mood killer.
Yeah, this is a great episode. Monica's mother shows up.
Yeah.
Great. Love this episode.
And also, Rachel goes in the very beginning of the episode's in labor, and she goes through 3 different roommates before she even thinks about having a birth. But that's not the best part of the episode. It's what happens after another attempt of Monica and Chandler trying to have a baby in the janitor's closet. None other than Monica's dad, Jack Geller, mistakes them for some other young couple trying to have a baby. Oh no, that was...
They always at the premiere of next season.
Yep, that'd be the one.
Well,
Great, everybody.
I didn't even season 6. You finally did it season 8.
Yay.
Oh boy. Oh,
but taking
boy.
that aside, it is still pretty funny watching Rachel go through the trials of labor. Phoebe trying to get info on this guy by having Joey be the doctor is freaking hilarious. And as I found out not long afterwards, the guy who plays this gentleman that Phoebe's trying to court was in an episode of Mighty Ducks Game Changers as Evan's dad.
That's interesting. I remember you telling me, and I couldn't remember who.
Yeah, but overall, this is a good episode. That's because it all takes place in the same setting on the same time. Yeah, it's easy to confuse that storyline with this. But anyways, so my number 1, your number 2, which is one of my.
Oh, before we get there, do you want to go through all honorable mentions?
Oh yes, honorable mentions. You go first.
The one with the secret closet.
Nope.
The one in Massapequa, okay, the one with Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, the full one with Alec Baldwin. Yeah.
The one with Zoe Dates Rachel.
I've got the one. No.
And the one
Wait,
with
tells Rachel or dates Rachel?
Dates Rachel.
Isn't that in season 9?
No.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, okay. Right, it's the one where he realizes that he actually...
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
And the one where Phoebe gives Monica and Chandler Mr. Pac-Man.
Yeah.
And I can't believe none of us talking about this. I'm sure they were going to be on your list. The one with the baby shower.
That was a good one, but these ones just made me laugh more. Especially
But
the one...
Bamboozled.
Bamboozled was good, I will not lie, but I mean, I don't know, I just like these other episodes more.
Okay.
Because I've got the one with the... Well, actually, it's on my honorable mentions, the one with the baby shower. So it is there. It's all honorable mentions. And yeah,
it's the best name ever. That's why I'm surprised.
It is, but you gotta remember, I did this list like a month ago.
I know.
But no, it is a great storyline. I've got the one with the stripper, the one with the baby shower, and the one where Joey tells Rachel. That's why Joey dates Rachel, and there's also Joey tells Rachel in the same season, a couple episodes later. So, the
You're
one,
number one.
my number one, your number two. This I have to admit is one of my favorite episodes. It's the one with the videotape.
Thanks, man. Take it away.
Yeah, just hold on. I'm trying to see if I can find a good side. Okay. Chanukah and Chanukah thought they made new friends on the plane home after their honeymoon, but apparently Greg and Jenny gave them a fake phone number. After 6 months without sex, Ross takes Joey's advice to get past as many bases as possible with his latest date. He had been recording his routine, but forgot to turn the video off when Rachel marched in, and so recorded their decisive single night of passion. Just because Ross insists on destroying the tape, Rachel decides she wants her friends to see it. Despite Ross's warning, he won't be the most embarrassed one. So basically, at this point, nobody, all the friends are wondering, okay, who came on to whom? Ross and Rachel. And all of a sudden, it's revealed that Dirty Ross decided to videotape this encounter. Because, as said, during the time that this videotape is made, which is in a flashback of sorts in the scene, Ross hasn't done it in a long time. So Joey tells him the story that he says works every time. However, Rachel also knows the story. So on that fateful night on the couch, it's used, and then we do just find out who came on to whom. And it was Rachel. If I'm not mistaken, that's how it was. Right? It was Rachel that was the same.
Yeah. He's not going to tell him the story.
Just the same story, yeah. I know the prom video is more iconic, but I think this one is funnier.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah, the reveal. Are you kidding? With everyone. Everyone was included in, but it took her a second to understand why.
Yeah, and you get lines like, "Oh, there he is, the father of my child, the porn king of the West Village." Yeah, it's great because this is not a bottle episode, is it?
No, it's not. And almost,
no. Right. But no, it's the cast sitting on the couch watching this video. Yeah, that's the reason why I highly recommend watching the episode, because whenever these casts are gathered together to react to something that happens on the show, that's when their chemistry and that's where the way they act. That's where everything just truly shines, and it does so in this episode tenfold.
I love that when Monica and Shannon act, then you do it on a wedding invitation.
Yes, that's right. They did it on the wedding invitations.
And not the one reason out. And then Shannon,
great. I had this one framed.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's a great episode.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do we have look for? Oh, yeah.
We should also make a note that this season marks the end of the Captain Ben.
Yeah, that's right. That's the last time we see Ben. Yeah, he's mentioned, but we never see him after this.
And we don't see Rachel's mom again?
That's right. That's right. We do see her dad one more time, however.
Yeah.
No.
But don't forget them before, so that makes sense. We don't see them
true, of course. Of course. And I mean, the show is about the kids, not the parents.
How many more times do we see the killers?
Probably like 2 more times, I think. Because their last episode is the one where they're recording Emma's first birthday. That's their last episode in the early season.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a funny tidbit about that episode. I'll bring it up when we get to season 10.
All right.
But yeah, season 9, we have some stuff to look forward to.
Yeah, the main overarching storyline of the whole season is Monica and Chandler trying to have a baby. That's like the main story arc.
Right. But we have a certain uncle from a certain Something that shows up.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have one part of a Scooby Doo gang who shows up.
We do. We also have Ross singing inappropriate songs, and Rachel too.
We meet the other one of Rachel's sisters.
Yep. They'll be the other sister, Amy. We have sorry.
No, after you.
I was going to say we have another destination finale.
We have a very, very surprising return of a certain character from all the way back in season 1.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's not the one you think, I mean.
Okay.
Maybe it is.
Well, there's only one character that reappears in this season from season 1, Ben.
I think there are two.
Okay, we'll discuss it after we're off air. And also in this episode, Monica realizes in this season, Monica realizes she has a flair for the stage, doing karaoke.
We also meet in a certain adventure.
That's true.
And might I say, he looks exactly the same, which is totally unfair.
Yeah, he hasn't aged in 20, 30 years.
God damn him.
Yep. Alrighty. Oh, yeah, and also we do have an episode where Monica thinks Chandler has an extremely weird fetish. All right. So, Ben, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at man_Rainier. You can actually find, oh wait, no, this is coming out Friday. Well, you can find me on the Video Studies Network on every Thursday on Shooting the Breeze, every Friday on this, every Saturday on Get Ready, also on Saturday on Mount Schmodown, my Schmodown show where we go into players' careers. This week we're going into the career of one Kevin Smith, so that's going to be fun. And I think that's everything. Matt, what about you?
So you can find me on every show that Ben said on this channel. You can also find me over on my other channel, Schmoes of the North, which houses Mount Schmodown. You can find me over there on Schmodown 9 Canada every week, breaking down the goings on of the week in the Schmodown. You can also find me producing Saturday nights. Let's talk about Star Wars, where Gold Leader Evan Bushkar and my friend Taco just talk about all things Star Wars. It's not just relegated to the Disney stuff. It's also a lot of it's talk about Legends and what have you. So it's always a good time. I'm learning a lot because I never read any of the Legends stuff. And so definitely check those out. You can also find me over on my personal Twitter and Instagram at soda_the_saxman. So don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel and over to Schmoes of the North. And we will see you next week on the one with the recapping when we do the penultimate season of Friends, season 9. Stay sweaty, everybody.